Hello, the topic of this presentation is creating a desired culture of informed users of medical devices. The four presenters of this topic is four different professionals. Napke is a medical doctor. Brian Moha is a practicing lawyer. Leo Latiniami is a sociologist, and myself, Michael Chang, is a retired clinical engineer and a CED collaborator. Dr. Ed Napke has a distinguished career as a drug adverse event expert with WHO. Unfortunately, due to an accident, he's now in nursing home. We saw him last week, and he asked us to present on his behalf. Ryan?
Certainly. For background to the universal three-step framework for ensuring patient safety, medical devices and drugs have become indispensable products in our contemporary society, both public and personal healthcare. Implants and home use medical devices are increasing in use in rapid rates, and adverse events have often become headline news items. For example, some of you may have heard of the reports on breast implants, hip implants, gynecological implants, fusion pumps, and so on. And oftentimes adverse events are not reported with medical devices. Now, medical device regulations have been generally perceived as covering all aspects of medical device safety. And when a device adverse incident happens to consumers, the public typically blames the regulator. But this is only part of the picture, as our three-step framework will point out. There were beliefs and proposals at a time that medical devices should be regulated in the same manner as drugs. The mechanism by which they operate are very different. Chiefly, the outcomes of a drug depends mainly on its active ingredients and how those active ingredients are metabolized by the body. Whereas the health outcomes from the use of medical devices are primarily dependent upon a user's knowledge and skills. And this is our focus of the second two steps on the user's crucial role in ensuring medical device safety. So we'll proceed next to describe the three-step framework that will optimize outcomes with medical devices and patient safety. Next slide.
Now, in 2019, the four professionals were meeting in a class action against certain implants. And Dr. Ed Napke coined the Four Musketeers for our group. And here are the Four Musketeers with their profession. The Four Musketeers agree that a graphic three essential step shown in the next slide clearly conveys the key messages in ensuring patient safety with medical devices. Brian?
Certainly. So key to understanding this framework is the distinction between product safety and patient safety. Product safety does not equate to patient safety, and that's the heuristic bias that tends to plague the regulation of medical devices. Product safety is only one part of the three-step framework, and that part, step one, is concerned primarily with regulatory compliance. Has the medical device been cleared by the local regulator of the relevant country? And this is to ensure uniform and general product safety and compliance with the regulatory requirements of a medical regulator. But just because a product is considered safe by a medical regulator, that doesn't mean that the patient is safe. And that's why we have step two and step three. Step two entails a use context assessment. In other words, what is the context in which this medical device will be used? What are the human factors and environmental factors that will impact on the medical device's use? For example, although a product may have been cleared by the regulatory agency, that particular product may not be, may be risky to use in a humid environment. And that's one example of an environmental factor. There are also human factors that have to be considered. Is there training required to use the medical device properly? Is there experience? Will a layperson be able to use it? And so on. And this is step 2 and step 3. The focus is on patient safety rather than product safety. At step 3, the focus shifts to safe use and management. It's critical for all stakeholders in medical device industry, whether you're a patient, manufacturer, or clinical engineer, or a doctor, to understand what your respective roles are. And part of that includes understanding use, maintenance, and surveillance. Are there instructions necessary for the safe use of a device? What conditions are required to preserve and maintain the device in a quality state? Is there post-market surveillance? What are the adverse events? What corrective actions must take place? So very simply, step 1 is focused on regulatory requirements, product safety, and steps 2 and 3 are critical steps for ensuring patient safety. Next slide. So how do we apply the 3-step framework specifically to medical device implants? You look at step 1, market clearance. Question, the dominating question is, does the product comply with local regulations? Step 2 involves the healthcare professionals informing themselves as to the limitations of the medical device regulations, the intended use of the device, risks and disclosure from the device sales representative and company. And fourth, of course, is the healthcare professional trained and experienced to safely administer and use the device. And at step 3, the focus is on informing the patient. This is key to informed consent. Is the patient fully informed of the risks of using the device? Is the patient fully informed of the risks of using the device in a particular environmental context? Is the patient equipped, trained, mentally stable enough to understand the risks and benefits? And has the patient been instructed in caring for the device, including to the device's end of life? Step 2 is absolutely critical, and this is key to ensuring that informed consent is established. Next slide.
Now, there is an enormous amount of home use medical devices now getting onto the market, and it's increasing. Now, home use medical devices is a mixed market, and many products are not regulated. So it's important for the consumer as a first step to check out whether it is a regulated product or it is not regulated. If it's regulated, you want to make sure that it has a license from the regulators. And if not, then it's a decision you have to make, whether you trust that particular company, their products, and so on. You may also consult your healthcare worker, such as your nurse, pharmacist, and physicians. The things to take note is that, am I fully aware of the risks of the device? Have I been misled by commercial promotion? Is the benefit of the device worth the risk of its use? The environment in which I'm going to use, is it adequate? Is it wet, outdoor, or is it enough light during the time I'm going to use it? Is it noisy? And all that kind of consideration. And how can I maintain the device once I get it? Now, after you make these hard decisions and you decide to have it, then the third step is very important to be vigilant on its use. and knowing where to get help is important. So the key 3 steps are assess, and then appropriate use. In conclusion, healthcare costs continues to spiral, and the best way is for each of us taking personal responsibility to our health.
Every single stakeholder has to recognize their crucial role in ensuring patient safety outcomes, and that includes the patient, who's an end user of the product.
With rapidly, sorry, Ron.
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
So effectively, what we need is people to educate themselves on their respective stakeholder roles and educate themselves on their respective responsibilities. Thanks, Michael.
Yes. So the rapid increase of implants and home use medical devices, the public education is urgent.
And together, the Four Musketeers have worked together to prepare a simple graphic framework that will provide with you an easy way to apply this universal and holistic framework all across whatever discipline you're involved in. If you're a medical device stakeholder, then this is a framework you'll need to familiarize yourself with. Thank you.
Thank you.